Hi, I'm Latasha Kaiser, founder, CEO of Kravegan, where food is love. Why? Because food is love.
I'm Luke Kaiser. I'm whatever she tells me to be, whenever she tells me to be. Dishwasher, cook,
CFO, he is
you
every
name it.
single thing.
Bottle washer, yes, I do it all.
He is everything to
Yeah.
Kravegan as well as to me.
Yes.
Indeed.
And food is always love.
Food is always love. Food is Guys, oh my wow. So, March 2018, I went to a women's conference in Atlanta. My husband and I had gone cold turkey vegan July 9, 2017. And I went to the Radical Women's Conference in Atlanta, Georgia, the Dollars, to the Radical Women's Conference. I had been going, and this particular year, on my way traveling, I said, okay, Lord, I am successful at Bank of America. I enjoy what I do. There's opportunity for advancement there. However, I know that's not my thing. And so I was seeking God on what was my purpose, what was my thing that I'm supposed to be doing, why am I here? That said, I was like, okay, Lord, I'm not saying I'm gonna be a millionaire, but I am saying that I know that most millionaires or strong creatives are discovered post 40 at the time. Like I'll be 49 in August. So at this point, I'm 42. Lord, what's my thing? And so I go to the conference, it's 3 days. And the conference was great. There was a lot of revelation, a lot of internal healing and things of such that comes from going to conferences, better understanding within ourselves. The very last day, I had been eating at In Vegan and Viva La Vegan while I was in Atlanta during the conference. The last day, I went back to Viva La Vegan to grab a vegan po' boy to bring home for my husband, and then, of course, to eat brunch myself. As I'm walking out, I closed the door, and I felt a tap. And I heard, this is what you're to do. I ignored it. That's the reality. I ignored it. And I hugged my friend, Tyra, and then I got in the car and I got up the road. Maybe 45 minutes later, you're to open vegan restaurant. I ignored it. So now we're up the road for maybe 2.5, 3 hours. And at this point, it's in my chest. Can't breathe. It's on my chest. You are too. So I pick up the phone. I call my husband. And I say, honey, don't laugh. Okay, you can laugh. I feel like I just heard the Lord say that we're to open a small vegan catering company.
When she first told me, I laughed because I'm working 40 hours a week, making really good money. And I'm like, I am not quitting my job to be a short order cook.
Okay, so I told you the first tap was, this is what you're to do. I was closing the door to a restaurant, this is what you're to do. But I said to my husband, a small vegan catering company. He chuckled. I said, maybe $500 to $1,000 a month, something tiny. That's what I'm thinking I'm hearing the Lord say. So I come home and I established Kravegan. March 30th, 2018 is when Kravegan was established. I'm the owner of a vegan catering company. That is not what it was, nor was that ever what it was. So, ever, that's not what it was. So, officially March 2018, so mind you, we're vegan. I've been cooking from scratch since I was 9. So everything that we've been consuming, I have been creating just for my home, for my family. My husband was raised in a hog farm, and I knew if I'm gonna keep my hog farm raised husband vegan, I had to do things differently. I could not serve simply what was on the market at that time. So I had to make it. And so I did to keep him vegan. And so all of our wonderful followers are the benefactors of what was created for him and for my family. So at this point, I've founded Kravegan. She's established, she's in the earth. Okay, Lord, what next? So I'm creating all these recipes and I'm taking the food to work. Because one thing in corporate America is free food is always welcomed and free is always in the budget. So I would that was all of my research and development because I knew if the non-vegans like it, the vegans will love it. And so as I began creating the sauces, because all of these sauces were beta tested at Bank of America. All the sauces were beta tested there and a great portion of the menu was as well. because and that's the items that were created in 2018. I would take it in, get the non-vegans to try it. I knew the texture was on point, but let me get your feedback. Do you think something's missing? Because I didn't want the taste of the gluten. I didn't want it tastes dusty or cardboardish, or bland, which we knew it wasn't gonna be bland, but you wanna make sure the texture is perfect. And so from there, everything began to build. And as I accepted the call on my life, because this Kravegan is our purpose. This is why I was born. This is my legacy for myself, for my children. This is why I'm here. Has this journey been easy? Not at all. We are first generation entrepreneurs. A lot of victories, but a lot of mistakes, financial mistakes, because you just simply don't know. And you don't realize the degree of what you don't know. And that's just the reality of it. So I found and established an entire company, an LLC, without taking any of the SBA and SBDC small business courses. I simply started with the knowledge that I had procured, I had learned from corporate America. And we've been successful. However, again, those first generation entrepreneur hiccups and mistakes have been made. I'm grateful for it because, we never despise humble beginnings. I've learned many lessons, and I encourage people, if you have questions, get in touch with me. I've already made the mistake. There's no need for you to make it. I've already done it. I've done it for us. Come learn from me. Let me help you not make those same mistakes. Today is still a leap of faith. It's always been a leap of faith. Oh my, wow. And I will constantly say that because that is the degree. Some people have said to me, oh, Latasha, you are such an inspiration. You and your husband are such an inspiration. Founder, CEO, my husband's a CFO. And because of you guys, I started my business. Because of you guys, I jumped out on what I felt.
There's definitely a leap of faith, but I want you to understand, God spoke with me when I first met this lady. He said, my job is to support
That's what you said.
her ministry. Her ministry is loving on people. And she's been doing that ever since I met her. She did it through her voice, singing. She did it through children's ministry. She's always done it through food.
Yes.
And so my job was real simple. Just get in and support what I can when I can.
Guys, this is not easy. One thing that was meant to be, as far as I know, quit ain't in me. And I mean the word ain't, quit ain't in me. I don't break. I will bend, but I don't break. And I have had to stand so firmly within my faith because, Lord, this is your idea. It wasn't mine, because I was fine at Bank of America. Yes, I sought God on what was my next thing, but I was also content where I was. And I believe maybe in that contentment is why he trusted me to say, this is what you to do, because I was going to do it. Even kicking and screaming, because of course I did ignore the first 2 times. And thank you, Lord, for grace in that, because of course he wasn't surprised. He was not. And he knew he could trust me and I was gonna listen. So regarding resources, no, we self-funded, never ever self-fund. So our 732 and 728 credit scores post-COVID, that's done. That's gone because we used our savings. We used our 401k, we used our credit cards because we self-funded. At the time, our pastor was teaching on finances, and we didn't want to create any debt. We understand good debt and bad debt, and good debt is good, but you don't want the bad. And so with the business, just starting, we wanted to make sure we had something valuable, something that was profitable, something that was scalable before we jump into debt. And we were doing fine up until COVID. And once COVID hit, oh my goodness. So now we are literally, we're trying to recover. We're still recovering from COVID. We're still recovering from some of the hurricanes and storms that we had, because the initial location that we moved into, and this is something you definitely have to consider. So I started at home, then a commercial kitchen, and that's 2018, and then March 2019, the food truck. I signed the lease for our first inline space, August 2020. We opened January 17, 2021. Now, we opened in a mall, an inline space, but that mall had development plans that was the reason that I said moving into the Orange Park Mall in Orange Park, Florida would be great for us, because they're going to bring in this, they're going to bring in that. Well, unfortunately, through their business dealings, things fell apart, and that never happened. So that meant what was going to bring our followers and our tribe of people in didn't happen. So we were almost to some degree, the water was rising because the traffic wasn't there. I'm grateful for the Orange Park Mall experience. I'm grateful for all of the back end and infrastructure, policies and procedures, things we were able to perfect and really work around and understand our pivots, because in business you must have pivots. With your recipes, you must have pivots. It's never a period, it is a comma. And if you're gonna be successful, you must remain fluid so that you can ebb and flow with your followers, with the market, with the industry, and with the times. Because with COVID, you know, restaurants struggle because they didn't start per se with food trucks. So it was just a shift and a pivot for everyone, and you must always build that into your business brand. What is my plan B that will look and taste just as good as my plan A that is out there? And through doing that, you'll end up finding ways to cut your own recipe ingredient costs because you know your pivots. And that let me give you that bit of that nugget now. I digress. So with looking for your location, you got to look at per capita. You have to look at why you're moving into that area. Yes, it may be great rent and a great location, but is that where your brand and your business needs to be? So again, that mistakes in lessons learned, but we self-funded. And if we had a chance to do it again, we would not self-fund, because now we have Kravegan's well, but personally, we are not. Yes, we will recover, we will rebound, and I know that our scores will return, but it's just getting through the gooey parts, which is when you have to lean deeply in your relationship, in your faith, to know, you know, second guessing myself. Am I doing this wrong? Is this how this is supposed to be? Guys, you have to put in your time. You have to have your time in the mud. You have to have your time putting in the work, to when you sit back later, you realize, I see why my journey was what my journey was. And these hiccups strengthened my faith, which gave me a deeper foundation in my purpose and knowing that what I'm doing is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. I will say this: cry your tears, feel your feels, and still trust God. You know, that saying, you know, are you going to cry or boss up? Well, I'm going to do both. I'm going to let the tears fall, because it can be, it's a lot. It's a lot that your shoulders are bearing, because not only are you growing a brand, you are taking care of your infrastructure, you're making sure you have payroll, you're making sure you have the proper staff, you're making sure that you're giving everything your staff, because they're humans. Everyone needs what they need individually. Then you don't want to upset your customers. You want to make sure you're bringing value. You want to make sure that you're not overpaying, that you're not being taken care of on your infrastructure, your back end things, your systems and policies and procedures. So it is a lot. Even with, as far as business restaurants, if you may want to get a beer and wine license or liquor license, your business name in certain neighborhoods may prevent you from being able to get that if there are certain churches and organizations in the area that don't want that component in. So there's so much that a business owner must consider. So with that said, going in, you know, where the word tells us that we must count the cost, you will count the cost, but know you need 10 to 15,000 more than you think you do at each level, at each phase. So you do have to rely on God. My prayer daily is, Lord, give me wisdom. Guide my steps. Lord, I receive your unexpected miracles, favor, and blessing today, because I know that's sufficient for this day. You've already provided grace and mercy for me, and the wisdom is there for me, and you have to lean on and listen. Also, one of my biggest prayers have been, Lord, I just don't want to miss you. So in times when I've made mistakes, it's like, oh dear God, did I miss you? A couple times might have been yes, but the great majority, no, because that's just the journey. Because I have faith, my husband and I have faith, our children have faith, but now we need faith for Kravegan. So that, you know, like I explained this to people when my husband and I, when we were dating, I had my faith, then he had his faith. But within 6 months of us getting married, our finances significantly reduced. He was in sales. We just had some career change that we had to do. So within that first 6 months, now we had our faith, because now as a couple, we're believing God for these jobs, believing God for these bills to be paid, believing God that we're taking our family in the correct direction. So mine, his, we had to merge those together as a couple, as a unit. Same thing with the business. It's just truly how I feel. So we have, the family has, but now we have to have faith that God, that Lord, this be what you call us to do, then you've provided every single thing that's needed for this to launch and have longevity within the earth in this realm. And in that, there are things, we kick against the prick. Sometimes it's not that. You're standing on your pea patch. Indeed, you're putting out your fleece. It's like, okay, you put your fleece out, and then the Lord sends confirmation that you're where you're supposed to be, but the money's still not here. Okay, Lord, is there sin in the camp? No, there's no sin in the camp, but the money's still not here. All of it is just simply a part of the journey. It's not going to be this way always. You may be in that, oh dear God, we're robbing Peter to pay Paul, and sometimes Paul don't even have it to rob Peter to give to Paul. everybody robbing everybody, And sometimes that season is a little longer than what you would think it would be. But, hey, businesses, small businesses, 3 to 5 years, but really like 5 to 7. So we're at year 7. We're at year 5. We're toddlers, guys. We're still in booster seats. So you have to consider your business like that as well. Your business is 1-year-old. What can a 1-year-old do? Cry and ask for things, okay? And touch what they're supposed to. What can a 2-year-old do? So when you consider that my business is 5 years old, my business is a kindergartner. Okay, we're learning how to tie our shoes, and so you have to consider where your business is as far as you're growing. And then we've grown fast. So in 5 years, we went from, again, my kitchen, which people will, oh, we didn't start a kitchen. Everybody starts in a kitchen. When it comes to food, because you need to make sure you have something. And when you realize, wait a minute, this is scalable, get yourself legitimate. Take all your license, get your class, and get into a commercial kitchen. So March 2018, commercial kitchen. The end of 2018, then the food truck, then the inline space, and now a full brick and mortar in 5 years without, funding. Yeah. God has literally put together all the funding for every single thing that has happened, because programs that are out there, unfortunately, grants, I apply, I've not been selected. Nothing wrong with grants. I'm just telling you my journey. I'll have a lot of entrepreneur friends. None of them have even gotten grants, but still apply because they're available, and I pray you get them should you apply. So you have to be creative with that, which is why you got to seek wisdom from God on how to make things happen.